Deployment information Islamabad. December 2017 cold winds were whistling through the windows of the Forest Department building. I, Omar Khan, had crossed mountains, deserts, swamps, and rivers in my 8-year career. But today my officer Anwar Saib said with extraordinary seriousness, "Omar, you are being sent on a special mission." I straightened the chair. "Is it on the border of Baluchistan?" Gilgit-Baltistan is the Black Pine Forest. There was a cold chill in the room. I had heard, but only in stories, a forest that does not return humans. 4 rangers have gone missing. There in the last 5 years. We trust you, old man. I thought it was an opportunity. To prove his bravery, departure 3 days later, I left Islamabad. It was with me. An old friend, Safdar, who was an expert in local trekking and mapping, we headed north in an old Jeep. As we left the city, it got colder. The streets were rocky. The gorge is silent and nature veiled itself. On the way, there came a point where every passing villager said the same thing. "Sir, don't go there. The trees are alive." Safdar said to me gently, "I have heard there is a shadow in the black pine that swallows the human intellect." I laughed. We are not slaves. We are protectors. The first touch of the forest on the 3rd evening, we reached the edge of the forest. The atmosphere here was completely different. The trees were so high that they reached the sky. They were black in color, as if burned in a fire. The air smelled like rotten meat. The campsite was an old, dilapidated cabin. Water was dripping from the wooden ceiling, and there were several old scratches in the floor. We both entered. There was an old picture on the wall, on which 4 men were standing. Below, one of them was written, Rizwan Ali 2016, Safdar's. Eyes turned to stone. That's what was missing, asterisk. The first night's attack at night, the sky was cloudy, lightning flashed. At 1:17, there was the sound of someone running on the roof of the cabin. Fast, heavy steps. Safar stood up. "What's this?" I grabbed the gun and walked out, but the roof was empty. The snow was frozen. There was no sign. Then a shadow came from behind the trees. Long, wavy, and without a face. He only whispered, "Omar ... I staggered back, but when I turned back, Safdar was missing. Asterisk, I found Safdar in every corner of the forest the next morning. The traces of his shoes were leaning towards the tree, a tree whose trunk touched the ground as if in a trance. Under the tree, I found Safdar's bag and a photograph, which had never been taken there. In the picture, Safdar and I were standing under a tree, but I was alone. Safdar's eyes were black. Diary, screams, and whispers. I pulled out an old file in the cabin cupboard. It was Rizwan's diary. Slightly torn, blood-stained, and on the last page was written, "These trees are alive. They eat not only the body, but also the mind. I don't know myself anymore." I recited the Quran throughout the cabin, checking every corner. But at night, whispers began to come from the walls. Rizwan also used to read. He also went, psychological breakdown. I began to feel that I was dreaming in my wake. One day, found myself naked among the trees, blood on my hands, mud on my tongue, and Safdar's voice in my ear. "Omar, you left us now, we will call you ... Mud was embedded in my nails, as if I had dug the soil of a grave. The shadow of the black pine, now I see that shadow every day. Sometimes behind the tree, sometimes outside the window, and sometimes behind me in the mirror. Every time he would ask me a question, "Will you refuse?" I screamed. But there was no answer. Only the shadow and his dead eyes, the triumph of the shadow. One night I dared and went under that tree. The earth opened up, I fell, and around me was a sea of human bones. Among them were the faces of Rizwan, Yusuf, Salim, and Safdar. They All said, "You cannot go back now, double quotes, asterisk, return or arrest." When I opened my eyes in the morning, I was lying in the snow outside the cabin. Most of my memory is gone, but I had a new page in my hand. Omar 2017, A New Ranger. Chapter 11. The dream of closed eyes. I did not sleep that night, but when I slept, the eyes were closed, but the dream was seeing with open eyes. I found myself in the woods, but every tree had faces in its trunk. Some cried, some cried, some cried. My mother's face was on a tree. He just said one sentence, "Come back or become mud, I woke up, drenched in sweat, but shivering and cold. But when he got out of bed, there were muddy, human footprints on the ground, Going out of the cabin, asterisk, the tree that speaks the next morning, I followed the signs. They were led to a hollow in the forest, where an old, rotting tree stood. The words spontaneously formed on his skin, "We are watching. We are listening. You're ours now." I stepped back, but then there was a sound like a girl crying. The voice came from inside the tree. No, it was someone else. A feminine whisper. "This tree is my grave, Asterisk, the return of the missing rangers. On the evening of the same day, 3 human shadows appeared outside the cabin. I took out the binoculars and stopped breathing. There were 3 missing rangers. His face was pale, but his eyes were open. I ran, but when I arrived, all 3 of them were gone. Only one cap was on the ground, on which was written, Yusuf. Con-2015, and a paper inside, on which was written in blood, "We are still alive, but do not become you." Asterisk, the second presence in the cabin that night. I felt that I was not alone in the cabin. When I looked at myself in the mirror, someone else was standing in my place. The same face, but with black eyes. He whispered, "Safdar is seeing you. Now you also become the one who sees." The door opened automatically. It wasn't moving, but the trees were. Someone is getting ready to come in, asterisk, return of Safdar or someone else. In the morning, I saw Safdar coming back, the same face, the same gait, but something had changed. His body was swollen. The fingers were long. He didn't say anything, just smiled at me. I said, "Sir, where you been?" He said, "I am no longer with you." And then it suddenly disappeared, asterisk, worshiping the shadows that night. I followed him to a glimpse in the forest. There was an old temple-like stone among the trees, and there were 4 people on their knees. Black clothes, eyes closed, and blood dripping on the roots of the tree. One raised his neck and looked at me. "You woke him up? Now you have to be sacrificed." The roots of the tree began to move, like a snake, asterisk, an old military radio was found in the cabin cupboard. When I turned it on, there was a faint voice. Safdar's. "Omar, if you hear this, get out of the cabin. Those trees don't sleep anymore." Then a woman laughed, and the radio burned, asterisk, Sai's real name. I saw a secret layer under the last page of Rizwan's diary. It had a name written on it, Yanagal, an ancient demonic goddess-like entity worshipped by the people of this region centuries ago. It was written about her, "She hides in the trees. She doesn't make shadows, make shadows." And also, whoever knows his name, he himself begins to become a shadow. I looked at myself in the mirror, and my eyes were slowly darkening, asterisk, memory. Of a tree one night, I found myself imprisoned in a tree. My body had become part of the tree. I was looking around, and every tree had the soul of a man. Safdar was imprisoned in a branch, revenge in one. They all whispered, "Free us, or die with us, Asterisk, the decision of the forest was now decided by the forest. I'll either be part of them, or bring something else, another human being who takes my place. A black butterfly sat on my palm, and only one thought came to my mind. Sacrifice. Going back to the cabin, I saw a new officer standing at the door, young, energetic, newly appointed. In his hand was a letter of introduction, and on that letter was written, "Your name, Omar con deployment, Black Pine Forest, asterisk, he who is behind the trees, ... Now I am sitting among the trees, not alive, not dead, and my shadow has separated from me. People say, if you hear your voice in the forest, ... be silent, because the one who hears himself loses himself.